Hola, buenos días.
Buenas tardes, buenas noches.
This is Barb.
And this is Estella.
And welcome to
Cafecito.
and Crime. How is everyone doing today? We hope that everyone is doing well. How are you doing, Sisterna?
As always, I'm great.
Are you mid?
No?
No? You're good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Am I mid?
I finished AOT.
Finally.
It was a very big emotional roller coaster. I cried a lot. And I don't know. Like, it was so good. I don't understand why people say it's trash. I don't get it.
Nobody says that it's trash. A lot of
I've seen people say
no,
that
but
it's
just
trash.
people from what I've read, people say that it's overhyped, that it's not even like that good of an anime or whatever. But
I mean, I don't know, but it was my first anime, so maybe I don't have anything to compare it to. Well, it wasn't the only anime, because in between that, I also watched Demon Slayer. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, Demon Slayer and that is totally different. Like, you can't even compare. They're totally different. Pero como quiera, like, I was in there.
Yeah.
I was like, girl, my husband said he could hear me, and he was upstairs, and I was down here by myself.
Oh, you're watching it downstairs?
I was downstairs, and it was during cuando iba a ser frío, según. Que iba a caer nieve y que la verga, hielo, no sé qué chingados. So I was down here y traía, like, and I was drinking my wine. I think that's why, because I was a little...
You were drinking wine?
I was drinking wine. And so then I'm watching, and I'm like...
Oh, yeah, you sent me a picture.
I'm like having a heart, like one of those cuando se te va el aire and shit. Like te privas and shit. Like,
oh, no.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
I didn't do all that.
Yeah, I did.
But
it was emotional.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, we're talking about you. You never cry for anything. Not like that.
Well, I cried I cried in season 3, just like you did in season 3 cuando,
Oh, girl, don't remind me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I cried in other parts, and then I cried at the end when I watched it by myself, and then I cried again when I watched it in theaters.
Yeah, if I watch it again, I would cry, definitely.
No, when I watched it in theaters, like, a lot of people were crying. Even guys, like, even girls in theaters were crying.
Yeah.
So
I mean, not only that, but
it's really good.
It's really good. I mean, I like I said, I was never the whole, anime this, and I was in
and I think it's like, you need to go. That's how I went into it. I had no idea what it was.
Exactly.
Or what it was about. I just started watching it.
I think people automatically think, oh, it's a cartoon, but it's not a cartoon. It's an anime. Yeah. It's like, it's really
I mean,
an
technically, anime. If you want to... I don't know what's the difference between a cartoon, technically, like the specifics.
But I mean, if we used to watch cartoons when we were little...
Yeah.
SpongeBob is the shit.
No, but it's not even that. Like, we used to watch Tom and Jerry, like, fucking... Cat Dog, Rugrats, Rocket Power.
I mean, they and most of them didn't even have a storyline.
No, but then a lot of us watched Pokemon. That's an anime. Like, you played Pokemon,
Yeah.
But now she's done with AOT, and she moved on to the Apothecary Diaries.
Yes. Now, that right there, so this is totally different. Estella will tell you where to go past all of this talking. But there's a total different genre. But the thing is, it's so good because it's totally different.
And it's fucking drama. It's
drama. Es como una pinche novela.
Yeah, it truly is.
Es una pinche novela y estás ahí de que ¿y qué va a pasar?
Y se están cacheteando.
Y se cachetean y luego
there's mystery. Se quieren matar.
No. Absolutely. And then somebody, I wonder who's trying to kill him. And it's... But
they're trying to kill the baby. Like,
not only that, but and I was showing my husband this last night. I was like, I need you to look at this. So I showed him a picture. I mean, one of the parts where it was like the flowers. It's so beautiful. Mm-hmm. Like you can't even explain it. No parecen que it's an anime. It's so realistic, and it's so beautiful, and it's well thought, and I love it. I really do love it.
Yeah.
So
she hasn't stopped, like...
Yeah, I binged it.
She hasn't stopped talking to me about it. I'm like, oh, yeah.
I binged it.
I'm like, maybe you should read the novels,
She's pushing it because ya va a salir el third season. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Because right now, I'm like, I want to...
You're almost done with season 1.
Yes, but I want to finish... Like, I want to go and watch it right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it is really good.
No, I mean, I was like you. I finished watching the second season because there's only 2 seasons out. And I was like, I need to know what happens. And I'm reading the novels,
Yeah, which is awesome for people that don't have ADD and that can focus on books. I can't. I have to listen because I can't read.
Yeah, so
that's just me personal.
I don't know if it's an audio TBH, so quién sabe. But anyways.
Pero Estela ahorita comió caldo y se manchó toda la camisa.
Yeah. Sorry.
What else albóndigas? They were good. They were good.
I didn't even notice, but thanks for pointing it out. Yeah. On my white sweater.
On her white sweater. Yes. It's all over. La pinche todo.
Ay, lo pongo en el sol. Se le quita, se le quita.
Ay, tú, le pones en el sol. Before we move on to the episode that we're going to listen to from you, I want to tell all of our listeners, because I know there's a lot of listeners that like anime, should I watch JJK? I just want to know. Estela says yes. My son says yes, because my son has finished it with her. But I want to know, like, should I watch it? Would I like it? So just send us a message. Anyway, so where are we going today?
For today's case, we are going to Woods Cross, Utah.
Okay. If you would like to come with us to
Woods Cross, Utah,
go ahead and grab your cafecitos.
And let's get started. It's because, I mean, it's Woods Cross, Utah. What do you expect but a historic, fun, random, interesting fact?
See. I was expecting that. First of all, it's Utah, which I'm thinking it might have to do with like settling or like trailblazing or Mormons. Yeah. So I'm ready.
The fun, random, interesting fact is that the city was named after a Mormon pioneer.
So look at that. It was all of them in one.
Yeah. His name was Daniel C. Wood.
Oh.
Okay.
So se llama Woods Cross.
Yeah. Espérame.
Okay.
So Mr. Daniel C. Wood helped develop the area in the latter half of the 1800s. Mm-hmm. And he tenía dinero.
Oh, sí.
Like he had land and he had monies.
Es todo.
And he helped build like a school in 1854 and then a church in 1863.
Okay.
And in 1869, he donated some of his land. So some of the terrenos, pues.
Tenía mucho, güey.
Yeah.
O sea, he was like, ¿sabes qué? Esto es mucho terreno, hay que dar.
No, he was like, he donated to the construction of a railroad station.
Okay.
And then the railroad station was called Woods Crossing.
Oh, that's why they named it. Okay.
Yeah.
Y eso de ahí se hizo el town, me imagino.
And then they later just shortened it to name the town Woods Cross.
Got you.
So that's where... That's all you need to know about Woods Cross.
And that's enough. I think that's enough.
You know?
Yeah. I think it was perfect enough.
Just what you needed.
Mormons, trail crossing, trailblazing, church, and foundations.
Mr. Daniel.
And Mr. Daniel.
And the railroad.
You know what? We're just giving all the knowledge.
Yeah. So we'll begin today's case with the victim. Her name was Karin. And it's Karin with R-I-N.
What?
Yeah, not R-E-N.
I've never seen it spelled like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Es como Karin.
Karin.
Right?
Yeah, Karin.
Como Karin.
León. Pero con K, no con C.
Yeah. Y las nalgas están así.
De Mr. Karin?
De Mr. Karin. They're huge. I've seen them. I've seen them in them pants. Digo, han dicho.
No sé. Pero no, acabas de decirte you've seen them in them pants.
Han dicho. Yo no.
Okay.
Vamos a cambiarle.
So Karin Ann Saltzgiver was born in Bountiful, Utah.
Saltzgiver.
Yeah.
Así se apellidaba.
Sí. On December 5th of 1954 to parents Mary Ann and Dave Saltzgiver. She was the oldest of 3 kids. And after Karin was her brother Kelly and then Colleen, who was known as Coco. So I'll refer to her as Coco throughout the case.
Not all the K's, like Kris Kardashian.
No, Colleen with the C, pero ya Kelly and Karin with the K.
Ah, okay. La vera, she should have done it with all K's, ¿verdad?
Yeah, la mejor.
That would have been cool.
So between Karin and her youngest sister Colleen, there was a 5-year gap. So now Dave and Mary went on to divorce when the kids were still pretty young, which really affected them. Karin took it upon herself to be there for her younger siblings. And according to Coco, she played quote unquote mom a lot.
Wow. And they divorced like early on. Like that wasn't really well known for people to divorce, that early,
Yeah, maybe like in the early 60s, para decir por ahí.
Yeah. Casi no se dejaba la gente entonces.
No. So it was said that, Karin had like a very nurturing instinct. Mm-hmm. Karin attended Viewmont High School where she met Steven, or they refer to him as Steve, so that's how we'll call him, Strom. His last name was Strom.
Not Steve Strom.
Yeah.
Imagine. Steven Strom. That's hard.
No, that sounds like you're like in Marvel.
Yeah.
Steve Strom. Yeah.
You're right.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
So the two dated throughout high school, and after she graduated at the age of 18, they got married in 1973. Mm-hmm. Karin was described as smart, strong, and outgoing. She had a bubbly personality, which was the opposite of Steve.
Yeah, she was like in her 20s, or almost 20.
And then, which Steve was a little bit more quiet, like more reserved. Opposites attracted in this case, I guess.
My case too?
Yeah, yours too. But you guys are still married.
Yeah.
The two loved to spend time together, and they spent a lot of time in the outdoors. Like Karin really liked to be out in nature, and they would go four-wheeling in the mountains and all that kind of stuff.
No van a caer.
Over the next 7 years, the couple worked hard to build a life that they were both proud of. Steve worked at a mechanic shop, and Karin worked in accounting for the state of Utah. After saving, they were able to move out of their apartment in North Salt Lake City and buy a brand new home in a new development in the suburbs in Woods Crossing. So Woods Crossing is just like 8 to 10 miles outside of Salt Lake City.
How are you the accountant of a whole... Like, I can't even...
No, she works for the state.
For the state?
Yeah.
That's crazy to me, because I can't even account my own, like, financial situation. And you imagine, like, the whole state?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like, I would be like, oh, ma'am, can we make this building? Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I don't know if that's how it works.
I don't know, but in my mind it does.
But I just, like, she looked over the books or something, or maintained the books, you know?
Yeah, but that's still hard.
Oh,
especially
no, I'm sure
back in the day, like, because there was no computers and shit. Like, no, tenía que estar a mano con la calculator.
Con la calculator.
Yeah.
Now, Karin even had a yellow Camaro.
You better work, yellow Camaro.
There's a picture of her with, like, I think she's holding a dog, if I'm not mistaken.
She's badass.
And in front of her yellow Camaro, she looks so cool. And yellow was her favorite color.
And did it have racing stripes?
No.
Aw, man. You have to have the black racing stripes.
There was no need.
And yeah, that's true. It's not Bumblebee.
That's true.
Yeah.
She was thriving. They both were for, like, a pretty young couple, you know? And as it so often happens, when people looked at Stephen and Karin, they looked like the young couple who had it all. But there was so much more that people were not privy to. So Steve was a big drinker, which caused a lot of their issues in the marriage. A whole other side of Steve came out when he drank. He was mean and short-tempered. And Coco witnessed Steve yelling at her sister a lot. And she also got to see the aftermath of their arguing. So she'd see Karin with bruises, on her face and on her body, which Karin tried to cover up with makeup, pero como que no, she didn't do a very good job.
The 70s?
Yeah.
They were trucking. I don't think the makeup was that well. Like, maybe now, but back then.
Yeah.
Like, if you could, there's some full coverage foundations right now.
Yeah, cover tattoos.
Tattoos. So I'm pretty sure that you could do it now. But back then, in the 70s, te imaginas a little sheer. A little, ay, nomás así, sí.
Coco tried to talk to Karin about the situation and, tell her that it wasn't right. Like, she should remove herself from that, environment. But Karin would defend Steve and would excuse his behavior by saying that he was just going through a hard time and that it was going to pass. But Steven's abusive behavior didn't stop. And in time, Karin grew tired of it and asked Steve for a divorce.
As she should.
And this was in the spring of 1980. Yeah, we're
hitting the 80s. Now, ya en los 80s, the makeup is a little bit more advanced.
En la nueva década.
Y ya el makeup está un poco más chido, tú sabes.
After she asked Steve for a divorce, Karin moved out of the home, and then she moved in with her stepmother. I think by this point, her dad had passed away the year prior. So dad had gotten remarried. But since he had passed away, se fue a vivir con su stepmother because they did have like a good relationship.
That's awesome.
Because I think they had...
Not that her dad died, but that's cool that she had a...
relationship with her stepmother. Yeah. So this brings us to the early morning of June 6, 1980. The 911 dispatch received a call from a frantic man who yelled, "Oh my God, my wife has been killed." When the operator asked him what happened, he says that he had just gotten home from work and found his wife dead in their bedroom. And this man on the line was Steve Strom.
Those are never good. When they call, "Oh my God, my wife is dead." That usually doesn't sound like it's not going right. It's not going down the right path.
Police quickly made their way to the Strom home. And upon their arrival...
Not the Strom home.
The Strom home, I'm sorry. Upon their arrival, they made their way to the bedroom where they found the victim, 25-year-old Karin Strom. She was on the floor lying half against the bed, and she was still like in her sleeping clothes, which was just like a big tee and like some panties.
25.
A
baby. Girl.
When detectives arrived and looked over Karin's body, they noticed right away that she had bruising and scratches on her neck.
That were older?
Which led them to believe that she was mostly strangled.
Oh, shit.
And she was strangled violently.
You know why my first thought was she got shot with a shotgun? I don't know why.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Girl, I don't know. What are you thinking?
Based on Karen's torn fingernails and bruises on her legs and feet,
She fought.
Confirmed, yeah, exactly, that she put up like a big fight. The room also showed signs of a major struggle. The TV, se notaba que they had like knocked it over. It was on the floor. The rods that are part of like the headboard, you know, que antes tenían los rods, they were torn off.
Damn.
Yeah, they had been knocked off. And in the struggle, it appeared that Karen had been on the bed, but like they threw her off the bed. And that's how she ended up in the position that she was found. Now, upon searching the rest of the home, detectives were able to rule out a robbery since the rest of the home was in order and it didn't appear that anything was missing. There also didn't appear to be any forced entry into the home. Now, as Steve was being questioned by police, porque remember, he's the one that called in to 911 dispatch.
Yeah.
He was extremely upset and he was sobbing when asked about his whereabouts and the lead up to finding his wife killed. Él les dijo that he had been at the manufacturing plant where he worked the overnight shift.
Why have I heard this before?
His shift ended at 7 a.m.
Okay.
And según que he had been trying to call Karen at the house y que no le contestaba. So as soon as he got out, he rushed home. He added that before he left for work, like the night before, everything was normal. That he had locked the doors as he left for work. And when he arrived that morning, he used the key to get inside, which made sense and didn't appear to be any like forced entry or anything like that when detectives looked around.
Yeah.
As detectives were speaking to Steve, llegó Coco.
Yeah, and Coco can tell him that they were getting a divorce and that you're not supposed to be there.
He lived there. Karen's the one that left.
Oh, okay.
So as soon as she got there, they started wheeling past her Karen's body.
Wow.
In a black bag.
Real.
Just real sad. Like,
sad.
just the bad timing, truly. And as, you know, the body was being taken, she looked at Steve, who again was being interviewed by detectives or, you know, questioned. And she said out loud, she said, he finally did it. Like,
wow.
He finally killed her.
Yeah.
So really quick, Karin Strom's murder was Woods Cross' first homicide ever.
Because it was a new town or something?
No.
It's so safe.
Yeah, it's the suburbs, in the 70s.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I thought that was, that's another fact, but I don't think that's a fun one. When detectives spoke to Coco, finally, she told them about the abuse Karen suffered at the hands of Steve when he was drunk. She also let them know that Karen decided to leave Steve and had moved out 3 months prior. And the only reason she had been in the Woods Cross home was because Steve called Karen and asked her to have dinner with him. And she accepted because she felt bad for Steve since it was his birthday and their anniversary.
¿Y qué tiene?
Well, she felt bad. I know, but that's just like, she was a nice person, you know, like she...
See, a lot of people, okay. I just can't be that nice. Like, I don't know.
As far as Coco knew, Karen was done with her relationship with Steve, and just because she agreed to spend the night, it didn't mean that they were getting back together. She was sure of it because Karen had recently begun seeing someone else. A man named Buff Bangerter?
Not Buff.
Buff Bangerter. Mr. Buff B.
Buff Banger. That's what I would have called him.
And Mr. Buff treated her really well, and Karen liked that.
You know what, Mr. Buff? You're bomb. You're the shit.
And then she liked him, you know, because obviously
he was buff.
Yeah, but he was treating her well, which is what she hadn't been treating that way by her whole fucking husband.
Oh, fuck. I hate that shit for her.
So Coco continued and told detectives that she believed Steve had gotten jealous and killed Karen. Now
he didn't know about Buff, maybe. And maybe that night le dijo.
Now, también detectives then spoke to neighbors, and none of the neighbors said that they heard anything. Like, they didn't hear any...
For that, all of that, like,
disturbance, yeah.
Room, que hasta las pinches madres de la bed tan quebradas, like, you've had to make noise. Like, alguien tiene que gritar,
well, no, especially if they were, like, rustling or whatever, I would think, you know? Well, I don't know, because the houses were built better back then.
True.
You know?
True.
Like,
no se oía nada.
And now you hear everything.
Te echas un pedo y ya.
Pinche sheetrock a la verga, toda pinche tela.
Oh, sí, güey. Así, para hacer más casas, güey.
Detectives then interviewed Steve. So they questioned him when they first got there, but now they were like actually sitting down with him.
Come into the
police station. And they confronted him with the information that they learned from Coco. And he had the opposite to say.
Oh, no, él se portaba bien, güey. Él no le pegaba.
No, ni a una mosca. Porque, porque dijo que according to Mr. Steve Strom, he and Karen had maintained a good relationship after he left and that there had been no abuse during their marriage.
Never. ¿Él se le olvidó todo eso?
While he admitted that he drank a lot, he stated that was the only reason for their separation.
Oh, because he was drinking. He couldn't stop drinking.
Yeah.
Okay. Not because you would beat the shit out of her.
However, he said that he was now working on things.
Oh, he's getting better.
He and Karen had decided to work through their marital issues.
What?
And that Karen had decided not to move forward with the divorce because they were, just working things out.
He's lying because now she's with Buff.
Yeah.
So I don't think that that's true.
They then asked him to kind of go over the previous day, right?
Kind of like tell him what happened. Or no, what he was doing, basically.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So he said that Steve said he and Karen had gone to an early dinner. Mm-hmm. They went back to the house, watched some TV, and then he got ready for work and he left. I believe I didn't really get like a clear timeline about when he went in. It was either like 11 or like midnight or something like that.
To work.
When his shift started. Yeah. So based on his timeline, it meant that Karen must have been killed after midnight and before 7 a.m. when he returned home.
Okay.
So that's just based off what he was telling them at that moment.
Yeah, but we know he might not be saying the truth.
The question now was, how did the killer get inside the house if Steve had locked the doors as he left and then used the key to get back inside the following morning? Steve gave
you said that there was no like disturbance, ni que había like forced entry, ni nada de eso, right?
Nadie se había metido a la fuerza ni nada de eso.
So what is he saying about that?
Steve gave detectives the names of people Karen would have left inside the house. It was about 4 to 5 people, with Buff, Karen's new boyfriend, being one of them.
Pero they're not getting divorced, though.
Steve did admit to knowing that Karen was dating Buff B during their separation, but that the relationship was over since, again, they had decided to work through their issues and they were going to get back together.
So the relationship was over that same night?
Yeah,
that they had talked about
that he told that that's over and done with. I'm gonna, but we're gonna,
work it out.
We're gonna move forward.
Yeah, I can see that.
Detectives didn't have anything to hold him,
they don't have anything.
And Steve was allowed to leave. So the lead detective in the case was Mr. Clarence Montgomery, and he followed up on Steven's alibi. He verified with his employer that Steve was at work at the time that Karen would have been killed, and it checked out. Like he was on his machine at the times that he was supposed to be on his machine during his shift. Regardless of his alibi, detectives were still suspicious of Steve since they still didn't have a clear time frame of when Karen was killed. That would come later with her autopsy report. So as the investigation continued, detectives then spoke to Steve's coworker, Ed Owens, who was also a friend. When Steve gave investigators the names of people whom Karen would have led inside the house, Ed was one of them.
Okay. So Ed was her what?
It was Steve's friend and coworker.
Oh, okay. So why would... Okay.
Steve and Karen were friends with Ed and his wife.
Oh, okay.
And they went out together and, Steve and Ed liked to drink together.
Oh, okay.
And then there was even times when they would go out and Steve would get too drunk that Ed would have to help Karen get Steve into bed. Like that kind of, se pasaba pues.
Okay.
According to Ed, he worked the shift that started before Steve's.
Okay.
And it ended at 12:30 in the morning. The night of the 5th, he took his lunch break at 8 p.m. He went to a bar, had some food and some drinks with some friends or coworkers. Now, I'm not sure if he just never went back to work.
I was about to say, because damn, how long is your lunch break, bro? Because I've never been able to have a whole ass meal on my lunch break. Like go sit down, order.
Have drinks.
With
some friends.
Appetizers and shit, talk and shit, y luego go to work. Never.
Go back to work.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't know if he ever went back to work or if he did. And after he got out, he went back to the bar. But all that to say that Ed stayed there drinking until the bar closed.
Okay. So Ed...
was a friend.
I know who Ed was. I'm just saying Ed was saying basically he did not go back to work and didn't.
I don't know if he did or not, but he was at the bar until it closed drinking. And then afterward...
Pues este fool también no tenía problemas tomando,
por eso se juntaba con el otro, pues.
Porque ya no se regresó a trabajar.
So afterward, after the bar closed, he and his friends continued drinking in the parking lot.
Wow.
And he showed back up to the plant intoxicated at 4 a.m. just to lock up his tools. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know if he went back to work after his lunch break and then went back to the bar after he got out, or he just never went back to work.
But he was like, oh shit, let me go ahead and put my tools up at 4 a.m. drunk, and me acabo de acordar que I left them out. Let me go put them up. That's so dumb.
No, he was like, me las van a cobrar.
That's so dumb.
So,
but I mean, it sounds like, or a lo mejor él mismo en su own being drunk, he was like, oh, let me go get my tools and knock them up.
Yeah.
You know?
So then cuando fue a guardar las tools, Steve saw that he was, drunk and offered him a ride home, but it refused. And he drove home in that condition. Yikes.
Please don't be on the street with Ed.
Or don't drink and drive.
Or no,
catch an Uber.
Well, just don't do it at all.
As detectives, were interviewing Ed, they noticed that he had scratches on his arm, and he had like one specific one, like right under his eye. When asked about them, he said that he had gotten them while using a lathe machine where like shavings kind of fly and they kind of hit you like either in the face or in the arms, which caused his scratches.
Don't you wear protective gear for that?
I don't know if that was a thing back in the
okay.
I don't know when OSHA came in here.
I was about to say, girl, because I don't think that you could just sit there and fucking get like shreds of
metal or
face.
Whatever, you know? So at the end of the interview, Ed did provide a blood and hair sample. So after the interview concluded, Montgomery spoke to Ed's supervisor, and he confirmed that the scratches and the minor cuts were a common occurrence when using certain machines. But you remember I did that one case que a la muchacha that everybody has scratches on their hands? Like everybody that they spoke to, and they all were like, it happened at work. It happened at work. So
I mean, did they all work in the same machine shop or what the fuck?
I don't know. You don't want to use like long sleeve shirts, like some gloves or something.
I mean, I know now it's...
Yeah, obviously now. Things are different,
Yeah, but como quiera, like, I mean, ponte un glove. Algo.
Detectives also spoke to Ed's coworkers or friends, whoever he was with, to confirm that they were all drinking together, as he had stated.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that they all had scratches too. Like, were they all scratched up también? Like, fuck.
And they did confirm that alibi. Also, detectives, from what they had gathered, Ed had no motive to kill Karin.
Oh, no.
And so less than a day later, after Karin's murder, he was ruled out as a suspect. And next, investigators focused on Karin's new boyfriend, Mr.
Buff.
35-year-old Buff B.
Dude, 35? 10 years older, como quiera, pero...
Yeah. She hadn't dated anybody.
Pero como
Estaba
quiera.
chiquilla, la pobre, like straight out of high school. I mean, she started dating her mans in high school.
Yeah.
It was during the interview that Buff was informed of Karin's murder.
Oh, no sabía.
No sabía el pobre.
Pobrecito Buff.
Yeah. He was devastated.
Yeah, I can just imagine.
According to Buff, he and Karin, though they had only been dating a short time, were very serious. They even discussed marriage.
There's no way. That quick? Porque, pero ya se iba a regresar con el otro, ¿no te acuerdas?
Buff even encouraged, like he was so serious about their relationship that he encouraged Karin to go see Steve. And assuming that's when she decided to tell him yes to dinner, to make sure she really, truly wanted to divorce him and take the next step in their relationship.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah.
That is huge.
Yeah.
That's a man.
That's a man's.
Buff is a man's. Man's. Like, he was like, I'm sure of myself. Go find out that this is really what you want. Yeah. I like Buff. You know what? That is amazing. Try to find a man that'll do that now.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
So I was like, oh, Mr. Buff.
Yes.
Like, you're good. Like,
he's a good man.
Like, he really wanted to be with her and wanted her to be sure that
they were gonna. Yeah,
that she also wanted to be with him.
I mean, that comes with being. Pero that comes. I was gonna say comes with being 35. Pero ya ahorita, I
don't think that matters nowadays
anymore. But I mean, back then, 35, girl, you would go to see TV in los 70s. A 35-year-old you would watch TV in la tele, and 35-year-old they looked at least 80. Like, fuck. Oh, yeah. So
no, you know, like
why did they look like that?
Or when you see videos of like high schoolers like in the early 90s, they look like they would be like fucking working corporate jobs and shit.
Like my dad, he showed me a picture of when he was young. My dad was born in 54. No, my dad was born in 56.
Oh, como Karin. She was born 54, but your dad was born 56. Yeah.
Y entonces, it was funny because I was looking at some like stuff of his pictures and stuff. I'm like, Dad, you look like you're 100 here. Like, what the fuck?
Was he wearing bell bottoms?
He was wearing bell bottoms. He was wearing bell bottoms, and he was wearing and he had a mustache. My dad's always had a mustache, and he has so much hair. My dad has a lot of hair.
They had like shoulder length hair. ¿Te acuerdas?
My dad had his hair was long, and then I'm like, Dad, you look like at least 45. And he was like, no, I was 19. I'm like, dang. Like, fuck.
Yeah, that too.
So, I mean,
like
I don't know if maybe,
and stuff.
I don't know why they look so old. I don't know, older. No, pero que uno que pues tiene
las
almost 40.
cremitas aquí, las retinols, la vitamin C, aquí ¿cómo se llama?
Sperm de ¿cómo se llama? No,
no,
wait.
Sperm de
salmon.
Fish. Oh, salmon, yeah. Some sea animal. How do we get here? Anyways, when asked about his whereabouts when Karin would have been killed, he stated that he was at home that whole night. He did let investigators know that he believed that Steve killed her because he was angry that she had moved on, which was exactly what Coco had stated.
Yeah. I mean, that's more than one person saying this now.
Yeah. Investigators didn't have a way to verify his alibi, yet they decided to let him go. And talking to him, he didn't appear to have killed Karin. You know, like I just said, they couldn't verify his alibi, pero como que no te daba esa, like...
No, además de eso, I mean, he was devastated.
Yeah.
Like, pobrecito.
But even though he was let go, they still didn't fully rule him out. You know, they just kind of like...
Like, we're watching you, but not really.
Yeah.
With one eye, not two.
Squinty. Based on the information they had gathered up to this point, Steve remained their number one suspect. Detectives continued to go down the list of other people Karin might have led into the house, and blood samples were taken from each of them. Now, crime lab results had finally come in, and they were only able to find Steve and Karin's fingerprints in the home. Which made sense since he lived there and she had been there, you know, spending time.
But if she put up a fight, there has to be something like under her nails or like something.
But the fact that it was just their fingerprints in the home just made Steve look more guilty, you know? And now, like you just said, Karin's fingernails were clipped and preserved since it was likely she had gotten her killer's DNA under them. But with it being 1980 and DNA testing
was not
it's not a
developed
thing.
like that. Yeah.
They were just kept stored. The next results to come in were of Karin's autopsy. It was confirmed her cause of death was strangulation. It had been extremely aggressive, like her neck was crushed.
They were pissed.
It also noted that there had been no sexual assault.
Oh, okay.
And it listed her time of death between 10 p.m. on June 5th and 2 a.m. on June 6th.
Okay.
Which meant that Karin could have still been killed before Steve left for work. So Steve was brought in for another interview. Detectives were trying to get Steve to admit that he had killed Karin, but he maintained not having anything to do with her murder. And to prove it, he said, give me a polygraph test.
Yeah. Well, now we know that that's trash, but whatever.
And even then, they knew. Detectives agreed.
They were like, okay, dude.
Yeah, they knew it wasn't admissible in court, but they were like, hey, if he's requesting it, you know, maybe we can get kind of, you know...
And good on his good side, como quien dice, yeah.
During the test, he was asked if he killed his wife on the night of June 5th.
You want the blanket?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm not cold.
I'm like...
He said no. He was asked if he knew who had killed her. And he again said no. And he was asked other questions, but in those specific ones that related to Karin's murder, the test noted deception.
Liar.
So it wasn't looking good for Mr. Steve Strom.
Well.
The test results just made him look more guilty, though the test results weren't admissible in court.
No, obviously, but they could use it as a... Like, hey, look, he's...
Like a point of
being, he's a liar.
Yeah, or something. Detectives felt that Steve was their guy, and so they needed to collect more evidence before charging him with murder. Detectives then spoke to Karin's coworkers, and they stated that they had seen her in the office with bruises. In one specific instance, she arrived with bruises on her neck, and she said that Steve choked her and then made the comment that she was lucky to be alive.
Oh, my goodness.
That was all detectives needed to file for an arrest warrant. And the warrant was issued on August 12, 1980. So it had been just about 2 months over her, you know, after Karin's murder. So law enforcement planned to arrest Steve as soon as he showed up for work. But he never made it.
I wonder why.
Woods Cross Chief of Police, Stale, I think Stale is his last name, believes Steve must have been hiding out at his mother's home. So they went to stake out his mom's house right about like a dawn. When they finally approached the home, it was about 8 a.m, and Steve had already left. Later in the day, just before noon, police received information that Steve was with a friend in an apartment in North Salt Lake City, and it appeared that Steve had been feeling that detectives were closing in on arresting him, so he went to hide out at the friend's apartment.
But why are you hiding, brother?
If you didn't do anything.
If you didn't do anything. You wanted the polygraph test?
And you failed it?
And you failed it?
Oh, pretty much, yeah. When law enforcement arrived at the apartment at 55 West Center Street, they proceeded with caution. They were expecting things to possibly turn violent since they were tipped that he had guns. And since Steve had supposedly told one of his coworkers that if the police tried to arrest him, he was, quote, going to take a couple of pigs with him.
Wow.
End quote.
That's exactly what that looks really good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You didn't do anything.
You didn't do nothing.
So there were about 40 officers that arrived.
Oh, hell no. They were like, oh, we're not playing with you, bruh.
No.
40. Let's go. 40 deep.
They were surrounding the apartment building so he couldn't escape, which I think also included SWAT.
You better work. They brought their little SWAT también.
They were prepared.
Yes.
Because
you never know what's going to pop
No,
off.
well, see, he said that he was going to take people down with him and that he had guns and stuff. So they needed to be,
Just
treading carefully.
Yeah.
Police tried calling Steve at the friend's apartment, but he refused to answer the phone.
He was like, I'm not answering you. I can see you, but I'm not going to answer.
They tried calling him multiple times, and the SWAT even got ready to go into the building. But after 3 hours, Steve finally answered the police's call. And then they were able to negotiate and convince him to actually turn himself in at around 3:10 p.m.
Girl, and the thing is, like, they gave him a lot of time.
3 hours.
Because...
Well, I think
just calling and calling and calling, like,
yeah.
Girl, I would have been like, call one time, let's go get him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing?
I think they need to avoid having like a shootout, as much as they can.
But 3 hours, Estela? That's a lot. They gave him a chance.
No, pues sí.
They gave him a chance.
That's because back then they didn't shoot you just to shoot you, Like,
well, that's true. Very true. And that's why I'm not a detective or in the SWAT.
He was arrested and booked into the David County Jail. The next day, he was arraigned on murder charges to which he pleaded not guilty. And after multiple hearings, his trial was set for January 14th of 1981.
Okay.
That's my dad's birthday. Mm-hmm. Prosecutors believed that they had enough evidence to get a conviction. He had a motive, opportunity, and a history of domestic violence. For the next 6 months, prosecutors prepared for the case while Steve sat in jail. But just before the trial was set to begin, Steve's defense attorney, Phil Hansen, asked Judge Palmer to exclude the testimony from Karen's coworker, who stated to detectives that Karen told her that Steve strangled her and that's why she had bruises on her neck. They reasoned that the coworker didn't witness Steve giving her these bruises, and she was only stating what Karen told her, which was hearsay.
Well, yeah, but I mean, isn't that the point of them asking me a question? If you're going to ask me, oh, well, what did she say? Well, she said she got strangled. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
is that possible?
Yeah, I mean, that's common. It's very common because she didn't witness it.
I mean, it wasn't like she was saying that he did it. She was just saying,
no, but they're saying that that's what Karen,
whatever.
Karen told her that he did, but Karen could have told her whatever she wanted, and she's relaying that too.
But, I mean, that's stupid. And this is why I'm not a lawyer as well.
Judge Palmer allowed the testimony to be inadmissible in court, which was a blow to the prosecution since that was their key piece of evidence. Without the testimony, the prosecution believed that if they went to trial, they were not going to have a favorable outcome since most of their evidence was circumstantial. Mm-hmm. They were going to lose the case and Steve was going to walk free. And so they made the difficult decision to drop the charges against Steve. The charges were dismissed without prejudice, which meant that the murder charges could be refiled if additional evidence that had direct impact on the case came to light in the future. Mm. So the prosecution wasn't giving up just yet. They just needed more time to gather additional evidence that placed Steve at the scene of the crime. Well, they needed physical evidence,
They needed to find something that says that he was there.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And not because somebody said so or whatever. Uh-huh. Their investigation continued for the next 4 months, but everything they learned was considered hearsay.
Pinche madre.
Time passed, and the first anniversary of Karen's murder came and went without an arrest. In time, her case turned cold, and it remained that way for the next 2.5 decades.
Damn!
So now we're in 2006.
I like 2006. That's 10 years ago. 20 years ago. Wait, 20 years ago.
There was renewed interest in the case. It was a cold case where DNA had been collected, but they weren't able to do anything with it back then. Now, Detective Benson asked, like, he took it upon himself to be like, hey, I want to focus solely on this case.
He probably was waiting, like, the time to bring this up, right?
He believed that it could finally be solved with the advances in technology. Mm-hmm. So the first thing he submitted to the crime lab to be examined were Karen's fingernails. Mm-hmm. When the results came back, they showed that there had been Karen's and Steve's DNA under her nails, but also someone else's.
Oh, shit. Nuh-uh.
Ed Owens.
Ed Owens? Oh, hell nah.
Which had been on her right hand. Like, his DNA wasn't in her right hand.
Where she was defending herself. The fuck?
He was now again on their suspect list. So,
I mean, they just said that he didn't have a reason to do nothing to her.
So Benson tracked down 56-year-old Ed Owens, who by this point, 26 years later, was living with his wife in Falls Church, Virginia. When Benson spoke to Ed on the phone, he asked him if he could fly to Woods Cross in the coming days to meet with him, and talk to him about, Karen's murder, which he agreed to. Then they also tracked down Mr. Steve Strom, who is now 53 and had moved to Henderson, Nevada. Unlike Ed, Steve was not at all cooperative and said he would not meet with Detective Benson. He believed that they were still after him for Karen's murder, although he repeatedly stated that he didn't do it. And I think he was just like, fuck no, you're just trying to get me. I said I didn't do it. I'm not coming here.
Which I understand that. But I mean, if you didn't do it, why just be like, okay, instead of giving them a hard time? Like,
well,
I just
I get it too, pero también el puto se fue a esconder al apartamento de su amigo. And he said that he didn't do it then.
And 3-hour standoff and shit, and I'm going to kill people. Like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Like, just...
Oh, no, wait. And I forgot to say, when they found him at the apartment at his friend's, there were no guns. He didn't have any.
Oh, my God.
I think he was just talking out of his ass to seem hard or some shit.
Wait, pero como quiera, like, these kind of things you have to take serious because
no, of course,
we're in America and guns are accessible to everybody. Yeah. So the thing is...
And you don't want to lose...
you don't want to put people in harm's way if it isn't necessary.
Right. Now, while Steve's DNA had been found under Karen's fingernails, it didn't mean that he killed her. They had spent time together before she was killed. The DNA results didn't make their case against him any stronger than it had been in 1980. Mm-hmm. So the fingernail DNA was submitted again for more detailed testing and also to figure out what type of DNA it was.
Was it skin? Was it like spit?
Blood? When those results came back, they showed that Steve's DNA was minimal compared to Ed's, which was the dominant one. Mm. Ed's DNA was twice as much as Steve's, and it was seminal fluid.
Oh, damn.
Again, her autopsy results showed no evidence of sexual assault.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
So was there a consensual relationship, or did they have consensual sex, them two, and then things took a wrong turn and he killed her?
Got crazy?
Or did he force her, there was just so many questions that were like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So back in Ed's initial interview in 1980, he stated that he was at the bar drinking with his friends when Karen was killed. Benson contacted those friends or coworkers who had been at the bar with Ed that night. He got a hold of 2 of them, if I'm not mistaken, one of whom was a man named Bob Lawson. Now, they told Benson that they weren't sure if Ed was at the bar the whole time.
Pues estaban pedos, güey.
Por eso.
Okay.
And as far as the scratches Ed had on him, they stated that they did notice him the day after Karen had been killed. Bob said that he asked him, quote, "Boy, what happened to you?" And that Ed answered, "I was playing with my dog." Y que
no que era la machine.
Y que Bob responded, "That must be a big dog," or something like that, you know? Like you just said. Now, if you remember, that's not what he told investigators back in the first initial interview in 1980. He stated that he got them from using the lease machine at work. Now, Benson waited for Ed to show up to meet him in Woods Cross, but he never showed up. Mm. He found that Ed disappeared 2 days late after initially speaking with him. He left a note for his wife telling her goodbye.
Oh, la madre.
And then his family ended up filing a missing persons report. In trying to locate Ed, his bank records were subpoenaed, and Benson learned that Ed had crossed the border into Mexico.
Oh, se fue para con los compas, el compa.
Back in 1980, investigators ran Ed's name through the state's database, and it showed that he had no criminal record. But when Benson looked further into Ed and ran his name through the national database, he learned that he had been arrested in California in 1973 and charged with attempted murder.
Oh, shit.
A man had raped a girl on the beach, strangled her, stabbed her with a screwdriver, and left her for dead.
What the fuck?
Ed went to trial for this charge, but his mom ended up giving him an alibi. And with that, the jury found him not guilty.
Damn.
Though he hadn't been...
From an alibi of him. That's crazy.
Well, it was, I guess, in the 70s. And I'm always like, I don't know, it was the 70s.
Yeah,
so
it was
maybe,
the 70s.
I don't know.
And
it was back in the day.
It was in the 70s.
They didn't have good protective gear. It was in the 70s.
It was in the 70s. But, it's like, damn, like it must have been like, I don't know.
Like real solid.
Real solid, I don't know.
Though he hadn't been convicted, the 1973 case and Karen's murder had similarities.
Yeah.
Strangulation, sexual assault of some sort, left for dead in the 1973 case. And in Karen's case, she was dead,
Maybe he just took it too far.
And so a warrant was issued for Ed Owens for the murder of Karin Strom. Since Benson believed Ed might be in contact with his mother, he reached out to her and informed her that he had a warrant for her son's arrest. He told her that if she spoke to Ed, to tell him that he could either meet with him and talk about Karen's murder, or his picture was going to be on national news. It appears that Ed's mother relayed the message to her son, because to everyone's surprise, Ed showed up in Woods Cross to speak to Benson.
That was quick.
He was like, y'all can let the people in Utah know that I did it, but y'all cannot tell people
not
all over
national
the
news.
Not the whole U.S. can think that I did it.
Yeah, but you can tell somebody in Utah, but not
that I
here.
might have done it, but not the whole U.S.
It's too much.
I cannot be on the national news. Now, when Benson attempted to question him about Karen, he asked for a lawyer.
Of course he did. Absolutely.
Why not?
Why not?
Detectives continued to work on the investigation, and Ed was arrested on March 14 of 2007.
I mean, at this point, there's the advances are so like solid. There's no way that you can say that you weren't there, or that you have no idea, or that you forgot.
And he was charged with first-degree murder. The prosecution felt confident in the case they had built against Ed. Among other evidence, there was the physical DNA. His alibi was kind of wonky, like they think that he was there, but not the whole time. He had fucking fled the country. Like
he left the country.
Who does that?
Who the fuck does that?
So they were ready to go to court. They're like,
my thing is, I was just thinking when you were talking about that, he had a wife and kids, and he was friends with these people, and you did this to your friend's wife? That's fucked. That's fucked.
3 weeks before the trial was set to begin, the prosecution learned what Ed's defense was going to be.
A ver.
The defense was going to argue that Ed and Karen were having an affair.
Okay.
Steve found out, became enraged, and killed Karen.
Okay.
That's why Ed's DNA was under her fingernails. Ed didn't kill Karen. It was Steve. The affair story was new. Like, Ed had never mentioned any of this. Nobody had ever uttered a word of anything in this type of realm that was what happened, back in 1980. But this defense could raise reasonable doubts with the jury, especially since Steve had previously been charged with her murder. So they were like, they had already charged them,
Okay.
And those charges were dropped. And just like it happened before, the charges against Ed were dropped without prejudice late in December 2007.
Why?
While the prosecution regrouped.
I'm going to regroup my ass.
Detectives went back to working on the investigation and trying to disprove Ed's defense. They needed time to, work on a defense that could be like, fuck, they weren't having an affair, but they needed to be able to prove that. Mm-hmm. Investigators interviewed the people who knew Karen to see if she could have been having an affair with Ed back in 1980. But based on what witnesses stated, Karen couldn't have been seeing Ed.
She was seeing Buff.
It didn't make any sense, exactly. She was trying to divorce fucking Steve.
And get away from that situation.
Yeah, and it seemed like she was, trying to move on with Mr. Buff B. It just didn't add up, right?
Yeah,
it didn't make sense. There was no evidence of sexual assault found, so prosecutors needed to find an alternate theory to the affair claim. Why was Ed's seminal fluid under Karen's fingernails?
Maybe she was already dead. Just saying. Some people be doing some fucked up shit.
They theorized that Ed went to Karen and Steve's home that night with the intent to sexually assault her. If maybe he had previously have done that to other people before, possibly 1973.
Possibly.
Possibly. Well, he was acquitted of those charges, and when he went there, Karin put up a fight and stopped him. This pissed him off, enraged him. There was a big struggle, and he violently strangled her. Now, investigators went over a case from top to bottom. They looked over every piece of evidence carefully with the fine-tooth comb, and they found something that had been previously overlooked on the underwear that Karin was wearing the night that she was killed. Mm-hmm. There were very small, tiny drops of blood that blended into the underwear, since they were sort of like a bright pink fuchsia color. Mm-hmm. And the tiny droplets had never been analyzed. So they were sent off to the crime lab to get tested.
I mean, they went through everything
Again.
Not only that, but they were going through every single piece of what they could find, right?
Yeah, they had to.
They had to.
When the results came back, they showed that it's blood. So why would his blood be on her underwear? If they were having an affair, it didn't make sense.
No sense.
She scratched him. She didn't want to have sex with him, and that's how his blood ended up getting in her underwear.
Yeah.
So this proved that there had been no affair. He tried to assault her. She fought back, and he killed her. So Ed Owens was again arrested and recharged with Karin Strom's murder. The trial finally began towards the end of March in 2009. Bruh. Dude, almost 30 years.
Almost 30 years.
She was killed in 1980.
That's crazy.
The prosecution argued that Ed had the opportunity and motive to kill Karin. Mm-hmm. On the night of the murder, Ed had gone to the bar knowing that Steve was also going to show up at work, but at a later time. This is when he left the bar, went to the Strom's residence to sexually assault Karin. She fought him, scratched him, he killed her, and went back to the bar with his friends, co-workers as an alibi, Mm-hmm. Now, according to the defense...
And he even went back to work.
Yeah. And Steve saw him.
And he did that probably to make sure that they saw him there, like an alibi, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Now, according to the defense, again, Ed didn't kill Karin. It was Steve who killed her because he found out about their quote-unquote affair and got jealous.
Okay.
The trial lasted 7 days, and the jury deliberated, 11 hours por ahí. On April 1st, 2009, the jury found Ed guilty of the murder of Karin Strom. Finally.
Oh, wow.
During his sentencing hearing, Ed made a statement that shocked the courtroom.
Oh, really?
Not only did he finally admit to killing Karin,
okay,
but he also stated that Steve asked him to do it.
What? Oh, hell nah.
He said, quote, "It was probably 3 or 4 months before Karin was killed. Mr. Strom asked me to kill his wife on several occasions. He offered me half of her insurance money to do it," end quote.
Wow.
He said that that night, he went to warn her.
Wow.
That her husband wanted her dead. And somehow, when he was warning her, they ended up arguing. And he ended up killing her.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He said that he went into the house with the key that Steve had given him.
So it was a warning while choking her at the same time.
And you killed her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then your blood.
It was a very, not only that, but it was a very...
You crushed her neck.
Like, that was very violent. But you were just warning her, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also at the hearing was a woman named Kimberly who wanted to address the court, but the judge didn't allow it. But after the sentencing, she accused Ed Owens of trying to kill her in 1973 in California.
Oh, shit, she went.
She
was like, "Oh, no, motherfucker, you're not getting away with this."
She said, quote, "He beat me up, raped me, stabbed me, strangled me, and picked up a rock and beat me until he thought I was dead."
Damn.
End quote. She said that after he was acquitted, she always feared that he was going to hurt somebody else. And her suspicions were realized when she came across a newspaper article about Ed, being charged with the murder of Karin Strom.
So she was like, "I'm going over there."
Yeah. Oh. And obviously... nothing was allowed to be
used against him?
During the sentencing. Nothing was allowed to be brought up of the 1973 case against him that he was acquitted for, none of the sort. But so Ed Owens was sentenced to 5 years to life in prison with the possibility of parole, which was a prison term that was in the books in 1980 for first-degree murder. Mm-hmm. His first parole hearing will be in 2032. And
why did they do that?
By that point, he'll be like in his upper 80s. So he's pretty much spending the rest of his life in prison.
Yeah, but why would they do that? Why didn't they just give him life?
That was just what was in the books for first-degree murder in 1980.
Oh, so they went based on...
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So if he would have been tried and found guilty of her murder in 1980, they would have given the exact same thing.
Yeah, sentence. Now, after Ed's sworn-in statement, Davis County Attorney Troy Rawlings stated that his office was going to investigate Steve's involvement in Karen's murder.
Todavía el pobre de Steve dijo que él ya no iba a ir con una verga. Ya no va a ir. No lo dejan en paz. Chingado, hombre. He's like, yo ya no voy a ir, ya les dije que no. Fuck. Damn, man. Entiendan.
I mean, I hope Steve changed and stopped drinking and stopped beating up women.
Please.
Pero,
because he did put his hands on her.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that we can't deny.
Forgive. Yeah, no, he was a piece of shit.
He was a piece of shit. But still.
He didn't kill her. Maybe he tried to kill her. I mean, he was strangling her too, according to Karen. So, but anyways, later, the Troy Rawlings announced that they would not file charges against Steve Strom because there was no evidence of his involvement in her murder.
Ya les dijo pues que él no fue.
So, and that's the case of the murder of Karin Strom. But like this fucker, like why? I honestly do not think Steve had anything to do with it. I truly do not. I just think that this fucker wanted her and had wanted her for a while. And I think he saw an opportunity. Like Steve's going to be at work. She's finally back in the house, you know, because she had moved out. And he got drunk and he was like, I'm going to go do it. But he wasn't expecting her to put up a fight.
Well, I mean... That hard. That hard.
Yeah.
Like she went hard. And if we would have been in the nowadays, like in this times, then he would have been
down immediately, right away.
You know? So they actually gave him time to live a little bit of his life.
Oh, bitch. He was in his late 20s. He
was in his 50s, 60s.
Yeah, mid-50s.
Yeah.
Like,
and then he left.
Se fue para México, pues, a la verga.
Regrésese. Allá no queremos gente como usted, señor. Allá no. Regrésese. But my deal is, honestly... I feel like I don't think Steve had anything to do with it. I mean, I felt like he would get the courage to beat her when he was drunk. But if he was at work, he was not going to.
He's a little pussy.
He was a little bitch. El otro a lo mejor. Pero like I was telling you earlier, like that's some fucked up shit because he had a family. Like, and you're gonna just
se juntaban.
Se juntaban.
Maybe they weren't like the closest of friends, but you guys would hang out. Yeah, like you guys were acquaintances.
What the fuck was going through your nasty ass mind?
He was a piece of shit, man. Yeah. I think he's still alive. I hope he dies. I'm sorry.
No, I really do. I hope that que esté colgado de los huevos somewhere. Like, honestly, somebody
fuck him up.
Fuck him up.
But like, and then Coco and Kimberly, they became friends.
Oh, yeah. See, I love it when women empowerment comes through. And you know what? Yes, Kimberly and Coco should be friends because they're both with the K.
No, Colleen's with the C. Coco.
Oh. Well, maybe she could be with the K. But anyway, I'm glad that they caught him. But that it took this long, that pisses me off too. But at the same time, it's like, dude, it needed
just
to
imagine
happen.
how many cases and that the fingernails were well preserved, you know, because sometimes se pierde DNA,
dude,
they lose DNA.
Do you remember that one case that we had where they had like I think it was like for Katrina or something, and all of the DNA was underwater?
Lost it, and they didn't give a fuck that they lost the DNA or whatever. I'm like, how do you live with yourself?
Yeah.
Like, you've just sabotaged, you know, solving this case.
Thousands of cases. It wasn't, I feel like it was a lot of cases and they were all like underwater and all this shit or like some people will be like, oh, they had a main line break or something. Bitch, the fuck? Those kind of things should be like arriba en el pinche aire or somewhere, you know? Like, don't
stored,
keep that somewhere safe and somewhere.
In waterproof bags or something. Yeah. I don't know. Safe.
Now we're just talking shit, but I'm just saying, like, I am so glad that they were able to catch him even though it took time, but it needed to happen eventually. And I'm glad it did. I just feel like every case is crazy, but man, the fact that they can
you were pretty convinced that it was Steve at first.
No, I know, no, because I usually am like, okay, that's who did it. No, it was just the way that it kind of started like it was him. Pero al último, I was like, I don't know about this guy. Because
even then, I'm like, so did they work together? He was involved, you know, like, fuck.
Yeah.
But then when I was reading that the attorney's office, the district attorney's office was like, oh no, we're not charging Steve because there's literally nothing that says that, you know, any evidence that shows that he was involved. And I was like, oh fuck, like, why would you fucking say that? Like, why would Ed fucking say that?
That was my thing. It's like, why would you say that? I mean, it's like, I'm going down, you're going down with me kind of thing. Pero, bro, it's been so long. Déjalo en paz, ya. O sea, you fucking did it. You obviously killed
He was sworn in and during his sentencing is when he's like, yes, I did it.
But
it's because he told me to.
What the fuck?
Bitch.
So, but anyway, let us know what you think about this case. If you'd like to follow us on Instagram, you can at
Cafecito and Crime Pod. And if you would like to leave us a review and or rate us and download our episodes, right?
Yeah. Download our episodes?
Yeah. Okay. We would really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.